Thank you, sir. I'll keep my eyes closed for now.
Hi, this is Jack, and I'm here to communicate about oneness and equality. Now, where does oneness and equality start? Oneness and equality start within yourself, as yourself. So we've communicated extensively with regards to the mind-consciousness system, the energies, the thoughts, the feelings, emotions of the mind-consciousness system. Now realize that it is not to stand in separation of your mind, of your thoughts, feelings, emotions, energies, frequencies, polarities, everything. Why? Because we've accepted and allowed it as the manifestation of ourselves, as a starting point of who we are, and thus we manifested it and are experiencing it in this world as ourselves. So where do you start? Firstly, realize that I am this mind consciousness system. I see these thoughts, feelings, emotions, and I have believed myself to be this. Now I've realized that I'm not this. So, who am I? It's a question. Well, who you are is life. As you stand within and as oneness and equality with all of existence. Now these words I present to you are knowledge and information, which are required to place into application. How do you place that into application? Firstly, you as this mind consciousness system have now to realize who you are as life of oneness and equality, as the expression of who you are in every moment with every breath. How do you do that? Through forgiveness, through self-forgiveness, and self-honesty in every moment. When you see that you are again allowing yourself to be using the mind as thoughts, feelings, emotions, energies, frequencies, polarity, equations, etc., in that moment of self-honesty you realize, no, stop. This is not who I am. You apply self-forgiveness and self-application, and you correct yourself accordingly in every single moment. This is how life being born from the physical starts. Because you as this mind consciousness system birth yourself as life from the physical through self-forgiveness and self-application, self-honesty in every moment, to build self-intimacy and self-trust and self-expression. And that's how you as a mind consciousness system start birthing yourself as life from the physical, to realize who you are as life, as oneness and equality, as an expression, as the entirety of your being, as who you are. Don't judge your mind. Don't judge your thoughts. Don't judge your feelings and emotions when they occur, when they arise. If that moment of judgment comes up, forgive that judgment. Forgive that you're standing separate from this mind consciousness system manifestation within and as you, which you've come to believe and perceive yourself to be. You know you are not this mind consciousness system. In that knowing, you have to apply the corrective action, which is self-forgiveness and self-application in every moment. So by us stating who you are as life of oneness and equality is knowledge to you. You have to prove this to yourself. Apply this for yourself and experience this for yourself. To see, realize, understand, express, and experience who you really are. For you to realize that you are not this mind consciousness system. And so it's placing everything within and as you of oneness. It says, at the moment this is who I am. But I know it is not who I really am. Who I am is life of oneness and equality. So first I walk in every single moment with self-honesty, self-forgiveness, and self-application in this process of birthing myself as life from the physical. There are many forgiveness applications as a starting point. For instance, I forgive myself that I've allowed myself to separate myself from my mind. I forgive myself that I've allowed myself to separate myself from my thoughts. I forgive myself that I've allowed myself to separate from my feelings and emotions. I forgive myself that I haven't allowed myself to realize that I'm not my mind. I forgive myself that I haven't allowed myself to realize that I'm not my thoughts, feelings, and emotions. I forgive myself that I've allowed myself to judge my mind. I forgive myself that I've allowed myself to judge my thoughts. I forgive myself that I've allowed myself to judge my feelings and emotions. I forgive myself that I've allowed myself to separate me from myself. What do I mean by that? At the moment, you are the mind consciousness system, but who you really are is not the mind consciousness system. This you have to prove to yourself. So thus, forgiveness, self-forgiveness in every moment, self-application, self-honesty. Keep it simple in every moment. Simplicity is the key. Complexity is of the mind. So it's quite a fine line, that separation. So if we separate ourselves from the mind, blaming the mind for everything that has occurred in and of this world, we stand in separation. And then we resist the mind, and in that resistance we actually compound the extent of the mind's application. So it's not to resist the mind, not to resist the thoughts, feelings, and emotions, but to stand within and as it and say, till here no further. I do not accept myself to allow myself to continue in the mind applications, because it is not who I am. I am life of oneness and equality. And thus I stand in every moment as who I am, in self-honesty, self-trust and self-expression, self-forgiveness and self-application, and stand up. Say till here no further. This is who I am. Thank you very much. This is Jack.